I always listen to that. And if there's turbulence and I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to freak out, I'll just tell myself, calm, compassion, and care. Breathe through your heart. Breathe through your heart like your heart has a nose, you know?
Oh, how cute. Is that what they say?
I mean, that's what mine said.
Oh my God, breathe.
And it spoke to me. It like worked.
Like your heart has a nose? That's
breathe
adorable.
Breathe through your heart like your heart has a nose.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Kashishan Real Estate.
Louisa Live.
Welcome back, guys, to Louisa Live. I'm your host, Louisa Odjaghian, and today I'm joined by a true powerhouse. She is a nationally recognized traumatic brain injury litigator known for her expertise in complex brain injury cases and record-breaking results for her clients. Beyond the courtroom, she is deeply involved in the brain injury community, serving on the board at UCLA Neuroscience and Neurosciences, where she helps advance awareness, education, and collaboration around traumatic brain injury. And outside of her powerful work, she's a devoted mom and wife and a true fashionista at heart, with a strong love for style that she often shares on Instagram, where elegance, confidence, and everyday life all come together effortlessly. Tina!
Wow, that's quite an introduction, honey bunny. Thank you.
I love you. Thanks for being here.
I love you too, and I'm so proud of you.
Aww.
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
You were incredible. You're going to do great things, and I'm so happy this was such a natural next step progression for you.
Thank you so much for saying that. And I do know that you do know that I wanted to start this for a while.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes the universe just makes things happen when you're ready, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, welcome. You look fabulous.
Thank
Head
you.
to toe.
So do you.
This is Tina. I should have worn my platforms.
Oh my gosh. I styled a quick look out of my closet because I didn't have anything new.
No, what?
I know. Nothing to wear. I have nothing to wear, Louisa.
Isn't that crazy? Especially you with your own room of clothes just stacked.
Yeah. So,
you know, so much to say about you and your journey in your career as a mother, as a wife. I don't even know where to start. But one thing I have to always ask, because I've always wondered, why brain traumatic injuries? What led you to that journey? And then we'll take it back how it all kind of evolved.
Look, I mean, law school isn't like medical school. It's not like you go and you specialize in a field and you know exactly what you're doing when you come out. Like oncologists do their residency in oncology. But with law school, you just kind of have to take classes that appeal to you, do different internships, and see what speaks to you. For me, I was doing insurance defense work, and I met this woman who was crying on the steps of the courthouse because her husband had fallen off the roof on the job.
Wow.
And her attorney then, or his attorney then, was trying to force them, I'll never forget, it's been like 22 years now, or 20 years or so, into a settlement of $180,000, which wasn't going to be enough to cover his medicine for 1 year even.
Wow.
And so she was crying and she said, "Are you an attorney? Can you help me?" And we ended up taking that case, even though up till that point, I had just done defense work. And 2 years later, we worked it up and we settled that case for the mid-7 figures, 20 years ago.
Wow.
That was a lot of money, for that family. Nothing obviously can make their dad whole again, or, but at least I felt good that he wouldn't have to worry about his medical care for the rest of his life, you know? And it was like such a nice feeling to be on what I felt like was the right side and part of the silver lining and part of the rebuilding for the family. And I just wanted to do more of that. And that's kind of honestly how I fell into it.
So from then on, you knew like this is your niche.
Yeah.
And it really has evolved into this huge empire. I mean, you closed some massive cases. I'm sure end of the day, winning means something different to you more than monetary value.
It does. Look, it's the best part of my job is delivering the good news.
Yeah.
And, telling the family that they'll never have to worry again.
Wow.
Setting up some sort of a trust or an annuity or something that pays them monthly for the course of their lifetime to make sure that their basic needs and their medical care is taken care of,
Yeah.
you know? And so the best part of my job is delivering the news.
Yeah, and you do it 24/7. Guys, she was pulling up to Horizon downstairs in her huge SUV closing a case, even right now. So that's your life. Is that a day in the life of Tina?
That is a day in the life of Tina. So today, in all fairness, I had cleared my afternoon to be with you, but half my staff is sick after Coachella. So I had to jump in on this mediation, and it looks like we're going to resolve the case for the family. We're ready to go to trial. We treat every case as though we're going to go to trial, and I think that's why we're able to get some of the results that we get. It's because the other side knows that we're ready to go and fight to the end. And so sometimes they give us what we believe is in the best interest of the client, and so we'll do that instead of going to trial. But every case is worked up as though we're going to try it.
How do you go back to like attorney mode when, let's say, you're driving down the street and you get a phone call? How do you like snap back in? Because in there you're like eating your food, having your matcha, but you're zooming, you're trying to close this case. How do you do that?
Listen, multitasking
That's
comes
hard.
naturally to me.
Yeah.
I'm an ADHD kid, and I think I'm
too,
thriving when I have multiple things going on.
Yeah.
And my attention is divided. And sometimes if I'm in my office and it's just too quiet, I find myself like scrolling on something, looking at my email, and also trying to handle whatever I've got going on Zoom. It helps me focus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know any other way to be.
You know, I love how you said the whole ADHD multi-hyphenate world, because we've connected over that so much, and you show that to us through your love of fashion and all of that, which we'll get to, because I have so much to ask about that. Like you're an inspiration to a lot of women. You could do it all. You could have your career, you could still pursue your passion, but you work in such a male-dominated world, and you are amazing at what you do. What do you do after a long day dealing with all that energy, male energy, and how do you still stay in your feminine and not let it get to you?
I think that I'm very fortunate because my kids and my family helps ground me.
Yeah.
I've got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, and if you think you're important and you've got big things going on, I think being a mom to teenage or preteen boys humbles you.
Yeah.
And makes you understand that it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about them. It's about raising good humans and catering to them and being with them. And so my idea of decompressing in a good time is this weekend that just passed. It never happens that we don't have obligatory things to go to on the weekend, but this weekend we didn't. So we did a basketball tournament, and I got to be fully present. And I did 4 games with my Charlie, and then we went to eat every night, and we did like lazy night, movie night with the family. La Palma restaurants, a restaurant that's opened in Burbank that's Armenian owned.
I know, I've been there.
They're so amazing. So they invited us, and we haven't had an opportunity to go, but we did our family date night there on Saturday night. So much fun, such great food. So honestly, after a long day, I like to just decompress with my family, whether that's going on a walk or a hike in the community or going to catch a movie or going out to eat.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And you're the best boy mom. You're such a boy mom. You're
such a boy
obsessed.
mom.
The way you post them all the time.
I am. They're so annoyed with me, but you know, as long as they tolerate it, I'm going to continue to do it.
Do they ever say, Mom, stop it?
All the time, every day, and I ignore them.
I know. I love that because you balance that well on Instagram, and that's hard, right? I'm sure people always DM you all the time, so you have to kind of figure that out, the boundaries.
Yeah. You do. And I think sometimes it's tough when you bump into someone and they'll say, well, we messaged you. I don't think people realize like you get hundreds of DMs. Sometimes you're not even seeing them if you're not following them on Instagram. And so it's kind of tricky. I try to get through every single one myself or have my assistant sift through it and look through it. But there are ones that we miss, I'm sure. So
I feel like social media right now is a necessity for all of us, even though it's a love-hate relationship, but it just helps your business grow in so many ways, not just yours. So I feel like we have to learn how to love it.
Yeah. Look, I've been on social for about 15 years now.
Really?
Yep. And I was on a law panel the other day at UCLA with Mark Garagos and a couple of Armenian female attorneys that I love who are probably half a generation younger than me. And one of them said, you know, we're so grateful to you for paving the way and doing what you do so that everyone can I'm not going to curse now, but just shut
You
up
can.
and
You
shut
can
the
do
fuck up, and we can do whatever the hell we want. And I thought, you know what?
Yeah.
It was really hard at the time, and I caught a lot of flack for it. But in retrospect, I'm so glad that I did it. If it helps other people be able to express themselves and be themselves and not be pigeonholed, oh, you're a lawyer, you're supposed to conduct yourself this way, you're supposed to wear this and that. So it's all about, pushing boundaries and expressing yourself and being true to yourself and realizing that you have one life to live,
Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Kashishin Real Estate. General sponsors, Lions Partners Insurance and LA FUE Hair Clinic. Our supporters,
Louisa Live.
you're a trailblazer and you did that for a lot of us.
Thank you.
Well, especially in the field of law, because I feel like when people think of a female attorney, they might feel like, oh my gosh, she's always in a suit, kind of very conservative. But you pulled out this powerful female, wait, I love fashion, but I can still go to court and settle. And you don't have to, be behind on anything. If I want to pursue fashion, I can. So I think a lot of young women look up to you because of that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The truth of the matter is our male counterparts have been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
Whether your hobby is, I don't know, collecting nice cars or hiking or whatever, fashion is my creative outlet. It's my passion. It's my form of self-expression. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. My mom and my grandma were very fashionable women. It's part of my armor when I go out into the world. And so I'm really fortunate to be able to express myself in that way.
So fashion means all of that for you. It's your identity in a way. When you walk outside, so how do you feel when you're just in that dress today? Like, why did you choose that? How do you feel?
I wanted to wear something new and fabulous for you, Louisa.
I've never seen that before.
This I actually wore to the Lanvin show this last season. I love them. They're a house that's very nostalgic for me. My mom used to wear them. And so I wore this because it was bright and fun. I had no idea your set was orange, but nothing like some color, brocade, metallics. I love texture and color. You will rarely see me in all black. I
know.
How do I feel? Okay, that's what you asked me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How do you feel? Like, not even for today, but just when you get dressed and get out of the door, what do you how is that your armor?
So my husband jokes that I either look homeless or I'm dressed to the nines and I don't have any mid-range.
Me too. We're the same. Every girl.
I'm working on developing the mid-range so I don't go out in my husband's pajamas to the grocery store and bump into everybody and their mother. But usually I like to dress for the task at hand, but I also like to be true to how I feel that day, right? So within the realm of appropriateness, you're not going to wear booty shorts to court.
Yeah.
But if that day you feel, you want to exude something in a certain kind of way, then you might pick your outfit accordingly. You know what I mean?
Love that.
So for me, today I felt bright. I felt like, it's spring. It's a little gloomy out, but I want something bright and happy. And how I felt when I put it on was exactly that. So.
And that's the energy I'm getting.
Good. So then it worked.
Right? What would you wear to a courtroom? What's your perfect courtroom attire for Tina Odjaghian? Like,
it depends. If I'm cross-examining someone, I might, do a high pony, do more of like a power suit. If I'm trying to disarm somebody, then maybe, I'll dress in like a nice sweater, dress down a little, and, be a little bit more relatable maybe in the way that I dress and express myself. I think, it's your wardrobe, it's your armor at the end of the day. And it makes people perceive you in a certain kind of way. But more importantly than that, it makes you feel something and exude something. And that's what makes people perceive you in a certain kind of a way, and it has the ability to impact the outcome.
Yeah, it
right?
does.
Of your task in your day.
It does.
So.
And one thing I love about you is you don't take yourself seriously. You could be at home, no makeup on, in a bun, and closing massive cases and showing it to people as in, hey, you could be a normal person at home, not glammed up, and look what I'm doing. That's very relatable.
No,
from
I
a follower.
appreciate that. Well, listen, I'll tell you that as someone who has struggled with bouts of depression in my childhood as a first-generation immigrant and gone through some tough times, I am concerned about the mental health epidemic and what social media is doing to young minds right now.
Yes.
And I feel a sense of responsibility because most of the demographic that follows me are women between the ages of like 18 and 40. And they're impressionable. They might be going through something in their journey. And I don't ever want them to feel isolated or like there's something wrong with them. I want them to understand that, you know, those types of human emotions are things that everybody goes through. And perfection is just the way that it's depicted is not really realistic, right? And holding yourself to that kind of standard is not something that I want for my followers. And so I want to be mindful to the extent possible to post all aspects of my life, days that I'm having that aren't so great, days that I'm losing, days that I'm feeling like awful, you know, so that they understand that these are emotions that we all go through, right?
Yeah, and if a young woman right now is listening to this or watching this and she's struggling with her image on social media, or one thing I like to say, getting triggered, because it's triggering. You might be going through something and you see a post, someone is posting on vacation or like this happy couple and all these things, but we know sometimes it could be fake. What message would you want to tell that young girl?
I would tell them that social media is not a reflection of reality. Social media is a highlight reel that someone is choosing to share with you at any given moment of their life. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form reflect reality. And where you are today is not reflective of where you're going to be a month from now, a year from now. And if you're just going through a hard time, one foot in front of the other, and you will persevere on the other side. I would tell them to do positive affirmations in the mirror. I would tell them to surround themselves with people that make them feel good, with positive energy. You know, at this age, with my level of success, I'm really mindful to remove myself of rooms that bring me down, you know, and surround myself with uplifting people with good energy and good intentions for me, because it doesn't matter where you are in life. What you surround yourself with is contagious and is directly connected to the outcome of your life, your mood. And so be mindful of your environment. Put yourself in a better environment to help you pull yourself out of that. And if it means going out with a friend, going for a walk, you know, whatever you need to do to get out of that dark place.
Even if it means no screen time.
No screen time.
I think you're good at that. There are
mute
days
content.
Yeah.
Mute content.
Mute
content.
Block, close friends, all of that stuff.
Yeah, not everyone should have access to your orbit. It's taken me my 4th decade in life to understand that, you know, my circle is sacred, and it is not for everybody, you know. And so I'm happy to give of myself and be honest and true and help however I can, whoever I can. But, you know, self-help has to be part of that equation. Self-love has to be part of that equation. And, you know, I need to surround myself with things that bring out the best in me, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people relying on me, including my family and my clients.
And self-love, but also the power of no. I think that you talk a lot about that too.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no way. What ends up happening is I say yes way more than I should. And I always start out the year saying, I don't do resolutions, but start out saying, you know, I'm really going to be more intentional about what I say yes to this year, and I'm going to say no more. And if something doesn't serve me, then I'm just not going to do it. But then, of course, opportunities come up to like mentor and help and lecture. And it's hard for me to say no to those things, but I'm trying to do better to decrease the amount of busyness. You know, and I think I'm doing a better job, but I think it's taken a lot of saying yes. I've kissed a lot of babies, shaked a lot of hands, paid my dues. And now I think I'm in a place where I just want to be more intentional with what I'm doing.
With your life, with your energy, with all the events you go to. I'm sure that, because it's hard.
It is really hard.
You can't always go to all these events because that's your energy. You're just exuding out all the time.
You're exuding all the time, and not everything serves you, and not everything is really in your best interest. And for me, my kids are at such a crucial age. They like need me present more, whereas before I would get away with doing more things. Now I go to things that I think that they would benefit from as well, that I can take them along, with me and have it be like a learning life experience for them. But I'm definitely a lot more intentional about what I do and what I say yes to now.
And I feel like you know how to balance social media for them as well, because I'm sure as a parent, you think you're raising two boys in this Instagram, TikTok world, right?
It's crazy.
How do you change your parenting ways, or like what do you and your husband do to protect them from that world a bit before they enter?
So I was really anti-social media and anti-screen time for my boys, because I see that what it does to adults, and I can only imagine what it does to children. And, obviously I've got clients with neurological deficits, so I'm always reading up on the effects of screen time on the brain. But I'm learning for my older son, because he has ADHD, it's important for me to kind of be mindful and balance. He was the last one in his class to get a phone, for example, right? And I was very anti, but then I thought, this kid is really gifted when it comes to basketball. We get approached by scouts, we get approached by refs all the time who tell us how good he is. And if he wants to post some of his basketball videos on Instagram because it gives him a sense of pride or purpose, I don't want to stand in the way of that. And I want them to learn how to navigate, so that, because this is the way of the future, right?
Yeah.
And because of his ADHD, I like him channeling his energies into positive sources, right? And staying out of trouble. And if that means posting on social his basketball skills, selling basketball cards on Whatnot, which is what he's obsessed with now.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the hell Whatnot was until my
What is it called? Whatnot?
Whatnot. I guess it's like it's
I don't even know what that is.
He does it with his dad, where they like sell basketball cards
fun.
online. And it teaches him accountability. It teaches him responsibility. He has to balance his books. Like, what did he sell? What did he buy? And these are skills that I wish I had learned at that age. And so there are positive attributes to having your kids be tech literate,
right?
As long as you can police it and try to minimize some of the negative effects of it as well. Never takes the phone to his room. No screen time after a certain time of day. And no video games during the week, only on the weekend, 45 minutes at a time. So I do my best, but
yeah, I see all your basketball game posts, and you look like the hottest person there with your fashionista look sitting there. Oh my God, Tina, I'm like, damn, I want to go to that game.
No, my God, that was actually crazy. That was a game in OC. It was a championship game. I was coming from this beautiful, over-the-top Mykonos themed 40th birthday party. And I didn't want to miss my kid's game. So I snuck out of the birthday and we drove straight to the game. And all the parents are there in like sweats and jeans. And I'm there with a dress with a train like dragging on the floor and high heels. I looked insane, actually. But
I loved it.
That's fine.
And I'm sure when you go home, it's so important for you to not take work with you.
Yeah.
But that's hard,
never
right?
happens.
Right? Because it's like 24/7.
It's 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, my clients come to me and entrust me with their cases at literally the lowest point and the most difficult time in their lives. And I am their first line of defense. I am their therapist. I'm their family's case manager. I handhold them, and their family members through some really dark times. And I don't take that for granted. So I give my clients access to me by cell phone, unless they're abusing it, which many of them don't. They're super respectful. So work never stops. When I get home, my work is, is 24 hours. I do what I can to draw healthy boundaries, like no screen time after a certain amount of time, to work on my sleep hygiene and such. But if I'm being honest with you and realistic, I think this is not a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if someone is watching right now and wants to pursue law and maybe in your specific field, any advice for them?
I would say do what you love, right? Don't look at someone and say, oh, I want to do what they want to do. Be the best version of yourself and avail yourself of different opportunities to work in different fields to see what resonates with you, like what speaks to you. Get an internship, get a summer job at a law firm and see if that's really something you're into or not. I think the mistake people make is they look at the glamour in someone's life and say, oh, I want to do what she does, not realizing the grit and hustle that it takes to actually do that job and to compete and do it successfully, right? Because there's a lot of people who, do a certain job and they don't have these kinds of outcomes. So I don't want to give anyone the mistaken impression that this is easy, although I'm told that I make it look easy.
You do?
Right?
Like, oh, I'm going to law school.
Yeah, right?
I'm a lawyer. I love it.
No, there's a lot of grit and hustle
Yeah.
and hard work that goes into running your own firm. Meanwhile, having your own family. I've got a lot of female colleagues who've had to sacrifice having a family in order to have their own firm. But I would say if you're willing to do the hard work, you can do anything that you set your mind to, and you should absolutely do it and not listen to advice from people who couldn't do it, because a lot of people I've heard are discouraging people from going to law school and pursuing certain things. I would never do that. I would just say find your own niche, find your own love, and pursue that.
I love that you said that, because I was just speaking to Ara Kashishian recently, and he is a lawyer, turned producer, and he still was promoting law school to everyone. He said you should still do it, because you don't need to be in this 8 to 5 law world. You can still, do what you're doing now.
You can teach, you can do so much. You can be a business owner, an entrepreneur. It changes the way that you think and the way that you analyze situations and business ventures and, life situations. And it's something that that knowledge is something no one can take away from you and will serve you in any aspect of your life.
What's one thing law school taught you?
Law school for me was a marathon. It wasn't a sprint. It taught me how to adapt and how to think. It made me understand my own strength and my own, because English was my fourth language, and I struggled. There was a ton of reading. It was like 200 pages of reading a night.
Fourth language. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so, it taught me that despite the ADHD, I really struggled. Like I would start a page and I would sometimes have to read it 5 times to be able to complete it because of the ADHD. And so I always felt like I was playing catch up, but it taught me how to learn about myself and then put myself in positions to succeed and do what works for me, as opposed to do what you're told. I'll give you an example. So first year of law school, they tell you, get all the books, do all the reading, and that wasn't humanly possible for me. And so second semester, I learned I'm going to sit in front, I'm going to take detailed notes, I'm going to go to professors' office hours, I'm going to deliver what they need on a test and do what works for me. And then I found myself in the top of my class. And I did that in practice and in life, right? I put myself in situations where I could take advantage of my skill set and my strengths and set myself up to succeed. And then I would put, even now in my practice, things that I'm not great at, I'd get other people who supplement those shortcomings so that we work well together as a team. And I put others in positions to highlight their strengths so they can too succeed. And I think you just learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about yourself because, for me, I struggled financially as well, and I had to work during law school. So, once you go through that, you're like, wow, I did this. I accomplished this. I can do anything I set my mind to. But until you have that sense of accomplishment, I think it's hard to have the trust and the faith, but you have to fake it till you make it. But once you start succeeding at little things, I got through law school, I passed the bar, I got the first gig, I got my first promotion. Then you start to develop that organic confidence that comes from having accomplished different milestones in your life. But until you get there, it's really hard. And you have a sense of like not knowing, and am I going to be okay? Is it going to be okay? So a lot of my mentorship now of young students is just teaching them to relax, meditate, have faith, do the work, and trust that if they've made it this far, they have everything they need to be successful.
And to learn how to delegate.
And to learn how to
right?
delegate.
That's
absolutely.
so powerful. Like if you're not
100%.
good at something, outsource it.
Outsource it to people who are good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the students who maybe don't pass the first time around, any encouragement for them?
Yeah.
For the
so
bar?
First of all, setbacks are to be expected, right? Especially if you're going to achieve great things in life, you can't expect that it's going to be an easy road. I learned so much more from my setbacks than I do from my victories. I passed the bar in my first attempt, but that's because I got lucky. I do well under pressure. There are people who are way smarter than me who had to take it 3 or 4 or 5 times, because at the end of the day, it's not a reflection of your intelligence at all. It's just a reflection of, it's a performance test. At the end of the day, it's just, it's a marathon. How well do you do under pressure? And if your nerves get the best of you on that given day, or if you get the jitters on test day, then you just have to work on calming your nerves, building the confidence, meditating. When I was prepping for the bar, I didn't do anything that the bar prep classes told you to do. And I'll tell you why. Because my ADHD was not well suited for what they were advising, right? They were saying, do, one subject a day. They would give you the subject. And of course, by like the fourth hour, I would zone out. And so I needed to kind of mix it up and make my own schedule. Instead of getting up at the butt crack of dawn at like 7 a.m. and driving to wherever the live class was offered, and as a zombie, I do my best thinking at night. I'm not a morning person unless I'm in court. Like I'm sleeping in until 8 o'clock at least. And so I would go to the pre-recorded class that started at 1:30, which means I would sleep until 10. I would get up, do a little bit of light bar prepping, go to my class, and then work until the wee hours of the night. And so I'm convinced the night before the exam, I went to the movies because I just needed a mental break. I did not want to have my brain completely fatigued and shut down first day of the exam. So I think, it all goes back to knowing what works for you and being true to yourself and taking those liberties on your own behalf rather than trying to fit into a box and a mold, and stressing yourself out needlessly. I would say the bar exam mostly is something you just got to get control of your nerves. And if you can meditate, if you can get a hypnotherapy session before the bar exam, I'm big on hypnotherapy now, do it. Because if I had access to that back then, I feel like that really would have helped me get a grip.
Well, hypnotherapy also helps you with flights.
It helped me it helped me overcome my fear of flying.
Your fear of flying,
yes.
So it was that real for you.
It was. At first, I thought, okay, this is some hocus pocus BS. Like I was not a believer. And so... but I had clients who had some luck with hypnotherapy. And I thought, okay, all right, I've got some friends that are hypnotherapists. I'll try. Let's see what this is all about. And so they did an intense session with me, 2 or 3 sessions back to back for my fear of flying. Because every time I would fly to Fashion Week, I fly 3, 4, 5 times a year. I would have to drag my poor husband along. And I mean, he's a trooper. And he likes it, but he doesn't love it. He just would rather not go every time.
Supportive, always standing there and always supporting you.
So I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this to this poor guy. I need to, get a grip and grow up and put my big girl pants on and fly alone. So I got a hypnotherapy session and man, it worked. It
One
worked.
session or you did a few?
I did a few sessions, but that one session that prepped me right before flight day that I've got the audio for that I still listen to before I fly was really most helpful to me. They do a desensitization method essentially where they take you through the day. They'll tell you you're in the car, you're driving down the 405, traffic is light today, you're checking in your bags, and you're kind of, people think hypnotherapy, you have to be out cold. No, you're consciously there, but you're going on this journey with the hypnotherapist to the other side to show you that you're going to be just fine on the journey. And then miraculously, when you're on the actual journey, that ends up being where your nervous system goes instead of freaking out. So it was perfect for
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So now when you take a trip, you're on the airplane, you always listen to that.
I always listen to that. And if there's turbulence and I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to freak out, I'll just tell myself, calm, compassion, and care. Breathe through your heart. Breathe through your heart like your heart has a nose,
Oh, how cute. Is that what they say?
I mean, that's what mine said.
Oh my God, breathe.
And it spoke to me. It worked.
Like your heart has a nose? That's
breathe
adorable.
Breathe through your heart like your heart has a nose.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm scared of turbulence too. Was that your fear of crashing?
Yes.
Like me too.
I think I'm a control freak. And because I can't fly the plane, I feel like, oh my God. So it is not unusual for me. I still do this. I'll go to the cockpit when we get there. Before 9/11, it was an issue. Now they're like, oh my God, who's this crazy woman wanting to talk to?
You would go to the cockpit?
I still do.
What do you do?
I say, hi,
you introduce yourself to the...
Hi, I'm Tina. I'm a fearful flyer. I just want to make sure we're expecting turbulence today. Have you gentlemen slept last night? Everyone's sober.
You can laugh. You're fine. This is...
Like, they'll take a photo. They'll be like, oh, sit down. They'll take a photo of me in their little chair. And one time I was...
Oh my God. Are we expecting turbulence? Go on.
I was on the way from Milan to Paris by myself. and it was going to be a turbulent flight. And you know, in Europe, they're a lot like nicer than they are in the States because they don't have all these FAA regulations, right? And the Italian pilot was like, "Oh, you come help me land the plane," and I was like, "Oh my God, no! I can't. My bags are over. I can't." And like, "No, you come." So they sat me in their jumper seat. They put the
Oh, wow.
on, and we're approaching the runway, and they're like they're like, take the lever and pull the lever, and I was like, oh my God, I was sweating, and I was like, I can't freak out. I'm in the cockpit. There's 200 passengers back there.
Goosebumps.
I just have to like get a grip. And so they, you know, it kept saying retard at the they're communicating, and they're like retard, and like trying to land. And after that, it was insane, but it kind of was like another level after the hypnotherapy. I was like, okay, I've landed a plane.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Add that to your resume now, right?
I'm fine. I can do this.
The fact that you ask the pilot if you're expecting any turbulence. Were they nice to answer you? Were they
They're
cool?
super nice, always.
Like,
I think if you're polite and respectful, they deal with fearful flyers all the time. And there's actually a logic to that, right? Because a lot of times when you're feeling fear, it's a fear of an unknown and something that's unexpected that you weren't prepared for. However, if you know that you're expecting turbulence, let's say an hour in or 2 hours in on the path, then you're not as freaked out when you experience this because you're like, oh, this is supposed to happen.
You're
We're
ready for
expecting
it.
this. Absolutely.
One time on a flight, the pilot kept us, it's called holding.
Yeah.
They were holding.
pattern.
Never happened to me before.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They were waiting for a different plane to just land.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, are we just going to just sit like this for 10 minutes? And everyone was calm on their phone. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've never experienced this.
It's the worst. Yeah.
Oh my, just holding like that?
Yeah, well, they're waiting for a runway to
That
land.
was so scary,
right?
Tina.
I
I'm
know.
like, I couldn't.
I know.
Oh
I know.
my God. Oh, so much to talk about. I want to ask you about your favorite fashion experiences because we could talk forever, but I mean, you are just amazing at what you do. Fashion Week and all of that. It means so much to you. So what does Paris Fashion Week mean to you?
I mean,
And
honestly,
everything.
there isn't one or two
So many.
experiences that stand out. I've been fortunate to participate in something that I love in such an intimate way during the course of the past decade. And I don't take it for granted, and it never gets old, like season after season. But I think probably going backstage and meeting Maria Grazia during one of her last shows for Dior was kind of iconic because
Wow.
I followed her career for over 20 years when she was at Fendi and at Valentino and then at Dior. And she was just such an icon. So I was a little starstruck, I think. And so that was a little, and then Pier Paolo was one of my absolute favorite designers. He's designing for Balenciaga now, but he was at Valentino for 20 years. And I was fortunate enough to go to one of his last shows and talk to him and take a photo with him. And that was kind of epic. And, you know, there aren't one or two that I can go on and on. I went this last season, I went to the Chanel show for Matthew Blase. And that was it was his first haute couture show. Designing for the house, and he came over from Bottega, so everyone was like, oh my God, what's this going to be like? How is the marriage of these aesthetics going to work? And it was really modern and beautiful and iconic, and I was like, I can't believe I'm here. This is so cool.
The way your eyes light up when you talk about all this, it's like a kid in a candy store. It's crazy. I love it.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
And I mean, if you weren't a lawyer, which I mean, that's still your dream job and you're doing what you love, but how would you pursue fashion if in the future?
I mean, look, there are some things in the works that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I feel like we have one life. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I invest in other people's visions, and so, you know, it's fun for me to try to develop something of my own, and I'm working on that.
That's amazing. And I can't wait until you share so I can post and share about it. And I mean, there's so many questions I want to ask you, but I know we're kind of limited on time. You have your case and all of that. But I want to add to something you said, how do things that work in your favor where you can be successful with your ADHD because it's just so powerful. Some people are very into visual learning and not maybe audible learning. So the fact that you did that in law school, you had to go to the first row and sit down, it's a big deal for people to hear and not just be brainwashed into the traditional system, right? So do things that work for you.
I think, I see my clients have to do this because they go from being productive humans, with full lives to having their lives turn upside down, to have to relearn how to speak and relearn how to walk and relearn how to talk. And so, they develop coping mechanisms to get through their days optimally. And so that's all it is taking your shortcomings and coming up with coping mechanisms that work for you. And learning. I mean, back when I was growing up, I would just get in trouble for being charajiji, like ADHD wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And they would give us like a nazuk and chai and be like, here you go.
Yeah, now
they're like giving kids Ritalin, which is like, the medication version of the caffeinated chai and the sugar.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not really into. I elected to not medicate my kid. I have friends who medicate theirs and it works out beautifully for them. But I think it's just coming up. First, you have to know yourself. And so you know what works for you and know what doesn't. And that comes with experience and taking risks, right? And then once you know yourself, then you have to come up with the coping mechanisms necessary. And if that means getting the help and the support that you need, then you need to get the help and the support that you need. And sometimes they'll teach you what those coping mechanisms are. Like for my clients, every single one of them has a planner. We write all their appointments down. We have call-ins and check-ins with them, like things that they need to get through their day. And you got to kind of do that for yourself, to hold yourself accountable despite your I don't want to call them shortcomings, but
no, but that's just the way you learn.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful. Me, I have to do a daily brain dump. I need a pen and pencil, like even though I put it in my notes, but I have to like write down because I'm visual. Like I have to see what I have to do and just check mark it. It makes me feel so good.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I have a legal pad and pen by my bed because I'm a very creative person and my best ideas come to me at midnight right before I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I may or may not remember it. So I will get up and write it really quickly or send myself an audio note. And then that way I don't ruminate on it and I can sleep better. And also I've preserved whatever it is, my 1 a.m. genius for the next day to get to the next day. So I think, things like that you can incorporate into your everyday to make yourself perform more optimally. Because when you perform more optimally, honestly, like you feel better about yourself. And then that impacts your performance even more. And it ends up being like, this momentum of doing and succeeding and getting and,
Also the power to know that not everyone's lifestyle could be beneficial for you. Like some people are not morning people. Like my friend tried to wake up at 4 a.m. to see if that's going to be beneficial for her. And she realized, no, I'm not part of that club. Waking up at 4 a.m. does nothing for me. So listen to your body.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I snark all the time because I've got a lot of friends that are like gurus or, like business coaches, and I love them all. And I make fun of them to their face and say, listen, all right, you cannot stop feeding people this bullshit of if you want to be successful, you have to get up at 4:30, get your hour and a half workout in, go, do your coffee, do this, do that, get your mental clarity. Those exercises are all super healthy, but you cannot fit everybody into that same square peg, right? Some people need their sleep. I sleep at midnight. I get up at 8:30, rested, okay? If you try to wake me up at 4:30, I'm going to punch you and I'm going to be miserable. It's just like not going to work for me.
Well, you know your body, so, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your biological like immune system. Like you know how your nervous system works. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Keshishin Real Estate. General sponsors, Lions Partners Insurance and LA FUE Hair Clinic. Our supporters.
Louisa Live.
So, women, health, fashion, all that stuff, aging, perimenopause. What do you want to share about that, Tina?
Look, I mean, I think it's really hard having aging parents. It's an eye-opening experience, and it's the circle of life, and it's a reality of the human condition, but it's also kind of gives you perspective, right? Of life is short, and you want to make sure that you prioritize your health, because if you don't, then it'll do it for you, right? My mom had a stroke in her 70s, and she went from being a productive powerhouse, member of our household to being completely dependent. And so as someone who has high cardiovascular risk factors and a family history now, I really have to prioritize my health. And that means, trying to eat healthy, which is probably the hardest part for me because I love food. But just to be mindful and cognizant, if I absolutely binge today, that I should probably watch it tomorrow. And, in my late 40s, I'm having to prioritize working out. And back when I was in my 20s and 30s, that was like dance and cardio.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. You have to acknowledge that at every age, there's different things that your body needs. So for me now, I do strength training, I do Pilates, I try to up my protein intake, to make sure that I'm strong and healthy, and continue to age in a way that I can keep up with my preteen
with your
boys.
life. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but perimenopause is very much a thing. And, that I think is a topic for discussion of a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But it's a privilege, right, to get old.
Yeah.
And it's definitely better than the alternative. So
I see the posts you make of your mom when you go visit her.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's very
Thank you.
sad, but in a way where it's a natural step, like what
Yeah.
you spoke about, and it's life, and we have to deal with it. It's very bittersweet.
yeah.
And I think having kids also gives you a different perspective, right?
And you appreciate every moment. You don't take anything for granted. I visit them as much as I can. I include them as much as I can, and you realize that every day isn't promised, right? And you have to maximize and live life to the fullest. And tell people you love them every day.
Yes. Call them, text them.
Yeah.
Wow, Tina. Oh my God. Ah. Well, before I ask the last two questions, I want to ask.
There's two more questions?
Yeah. I do want to say my favorite fashion moment from you was the Armenian designer.
Oh, Khosrow, that was pretty epic. Yeah.
That was epic.
I'll tell you about that. Okay.
Yeah. Talk about that.
So, Vogue World is something that I attend from time to time. And a couple of years ago, it was in Paris, and it was going to be in the Place Vendôme. And it was this huge production. Everyone was going to be there, designers, celebrities, singers, performers. And I was going to wear an archival Oscar de la Renta piece. My friend Laura Kim was a creative director for them back then, and I love Oscar. But I thought that this is going to be like a international stage, and it's such an opportunity to highlight my Armenian heritage. And so I decided to join forces with a friend of mine named Khosrow, who's one of the only Armenian couturiers and does beautiful, impeccable work that I think was so worthy of being seen, by the circle of like fashion elite in Paris. And so I reached out to him. I said, hey, Vogue World's coming up. I'd love to wear you. And it's 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
Can we make this work? And he's crazier than I am. And he said yes. And he came down and he brought his atelier down from Italy, and they made just the most stunning dress ever. And then I kind of surprised him and took him as my +1 because I thought, it'd be so amazing for him to be there in this like epic moment when I get to wear his dress. And it honestly is something that I will never forget.
Yeah.
That night he met a gentleman by the name of Thibaut, who has a showroom in Milano during Fashion Week. And so the next year he put Khosrow's collection on display, and Khosrow ended up getting his first big order from Antonia Milano, which is like a huge boutique in
Look
Italy.
At that.
And
look
so,
what you did from that connection.
No, I mean, look, his work speaks for itself, but I think that exposure And just being in that moment. I remember there was a point where we were dancing to Armenian music in the middle of like Place Vendôme, and we posted it in stories, but it was just such a happy moment.
Yeah.
And such a proud moment for me.
And you left an impression on all of us with that. I didn't know who that designer was until you posted him. So
yeah, he's amazing.
That's incredible, Tina.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had your very own billboard
Oh,
on
okay.
Sunset Boulevard,
Yeah.
what would it say?
I don't do billboards. I mean, I've got a lot of colleagues in the law who do billboards. Amazing.
No,
I don't do
personal
billboard.
message. This is not like nothing with law or career. Just you want to share a message with the world. Someone driving down the street, like, a message.
So many things. Kindness is contagious. Be kind to everyone. You never know what people are going through. Work hard. Pursue your goals. Dream big.
Love that.
Hard work beats talent every time talent's not working hard. I love encouraging younger people coming up in this profession and just in life to understand that no one's got the edge over them. They are the maker of their own destiny. They should invest in themselves, do the work, believe in themselves, dream big, and honestly, the sky's the limit. I am a first-generation immigrant kid who moved here at the age of 10 and lived in my aunt's basement, and I never in a million years thought that, I would have this life and I would have built this life with my own, strength and abilities and the grace of God. But I think that I was delusional and I dreamed big, and I would encourage anyone to do the same.
So we need like 20 billboards for that.
Yeah, that was a lot.
No, I love it. Any message to the world right now with everything going on? Words from your heart?
Be kind, agree to disagree. You don't have to see eye to eye with everybody, but you do have to conduct yourself with compassion and care, and agree to disagree, because we're humans, and what makes life interesting is that everyone's different, and they've got a different belief system, and you have to be respectful of that. Don't try to push your agenda and down someone else's throat. And just, this is a very sensitive time. The world is very divided, and I think it's a time to kind of take a step back and be compassionate and understand that sometimes, especially with friends, you just agree to disagree. And you lead with kindness.
I love that.
Yeah.
Last question. What purchase have you made under $100 that changed your life? Something
under $100?
Yeah, $20, $30, even $5. Something that just changed your life. A small item that put a smile on your face.
Okay, so look, I put myself through school doing makeup. I love makeup, right? Okay,
Yes.
so if I'm down, if I'm whatever, just stepping into a store and buying a new shade of lipstick and putting that on has the ability to impact my mood.
Yeah.
And to change my mood and to kind of make me happy. I'm a simple being.
Yeah.
So let's say lipstick.
Yeah.
What else? Food. I'm a foodie. A good cup of matcha under $10.
Yes, we
saves
just had
my
it.
life every day. And when I don't have it, conversely, I am in a mood. So you're lucky I got my matcha.
She
before
got
I
her
got here.
matcha, and she also ordered breakfast lunch for us from Organics, I think, down the street.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
Delicious.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's just, the little things.
Tina, I'm so happy that you came out here to support me and share so much wisdom. I can't wait for your podcast one day.
Oh, of course. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I love your energy. It's infectious. You're kind. You're happy. And I love seeing you shine.
I love you so much. You're always in my corner. I always call you. You pick up. We talk.
Always here for you.
And I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Louisa Live.
This season of Louisa Live is made possible by our exclusive presenting sponsor, Gary Kashishin Real Estate. General sponsors, Lions Partners Insurance and LA FUE Hair Clinic. Our supporters,
Louisa Live.